What if the strongest thing you could do isn't fixing yourself or others, but simply holding space? Today on Aligning on My Time, my guest Anna Jones shares why your presence is your power, how to stop abandoning yourself in the process of showing up for everyone else, and the one truth that will change your healing journey forever, that you cannot mess this up. Let's dive in. Welcome to Aligning on My Time, the podcast for women who are done shrinking, done people pleasing, and done repeating the cycles that kept their mothers and grandmothers stuck. I'm Naomi Sarah, and I help you break generational patterns, reclaim your voice, and become who you were always meant to be. This is your permission slip to choose yourself. Let's begin. Today's conversation is about the art of holding space for others, but also for ourselves, for our emotions, our healing, our growth, and the generations that come before us. So, my guest today is Anna Jones. She is a coach whose work is rooted in freedom and bliss in all areas of life. What I love about her is that she brings her presence, integrity, and heart into every space that she enters. My hope for this conversation today is just to remind you that your presence with yourself and with others is one of the strongest forms of healing. So I just want to welcome you, Anna. For those who don't know you yet, can you just share a bit more about what brought you to this work?
Thank you so much for having me, Naomi. So I think you pretty much gave like an intro of what I currently do. And what brought me to this work really, it's always challenging to just give people like a nutshell. And because, podcasts have a beginning and an end. Sometimes, I mean, I could talk about this forever, but I think I've always been very curious. I've always been a very, very curious person. And to this day, it's kind of interesting how even just me asking questions will trigger people and will make them get like a little bit defensive. And I'm just like, oh, I'm actually just curious. I just want to know more about why it is that you do, or why it is that you are choosing these things, or why it is that you are saying these things. Like, I like to understand the why behind of things. I think that's just kind of always been something that drives me, from like the smallest, most mundane thing of just why do people get married? Like, why don't people speak their minds? Like, why, if you don't like someone, you just don't tell them? And I just have always thought very differently than like how society brings us to be, and to feel, and to act, and to be. So I had a really I was challenged a lot when I was younger, because I just didn't understand, because I would hear things in the background, and then when we were having the actual conversation, I was like, wait, but didn't you just say something like entirely different back there? And now you're like, so I never understood that type of dynamics, like the I want everyone to like me, and I'm going to say what people want to hear type of dynamic. And I think that's really, if I could put it in a nutshell, what brought me to my work, because I always had a lot of emotions, and I had a lot of feelings. I feel like feelings and emotions have always been like my primal language. I was born and raised in Mexico, and so Spanish is my native tongue, but I always felt like the emotions, they were always there. And I never had anyone when I was growing up to teach me how to channel my anger, how to channel my frustration, how to channel these emotions, right, that are considered bad. And so
Mhm.
instead, we're being told, tuck them away, push them away, put them away. Nobody wants to see them. They're ugly. They're not nice. They're not pretty. So just don't deal with it. Problem is, when you don't deal with stuff, it eventually just comes up, right? You can only stuff so much. And so I think that, you know, all of this just really brought me to this space of, how can I, there's this saying of like, turn your pain into your purpose type of thing. And I always was like, oh my gosh, that's such bullshit. Or just like that, they're trying to make it sound cool, right? But in reality, I feel like that's what I did. I ended up taking something that was really painful, which I think a lot of people may relate when they hear this, is I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard, I wasn't felt in the way that I needed to be seen, heard, and felt by my parents, by my caregivers, by those who were around me. And so I think growing up, we just have this idea, this fantasy that, oh, My parents should know how to make me feel seen, heard, and felt, right? My partner, my friends, the people that are closest to me, they should know these things. But oftentimes we don't even know. So as I was going down this journey of getting to know who I really am, and I'm always continuing to explore deeper facets of myself, and just like, what do I like? What do I not like? It's become really interesting, because as I've kind of gotten into this space where I'm just being, really. It's not like a formula. It's not something like, oh my gosh, there's a special secret for this. It's truly, I'm just being. And I think by being me, I've just attracted people to my work, to my inner circle, to my life, that are like, hey, like, I want to also be. Can we be together? And that's really cool. So I think that this is just a teaching that I like to bring into people's lives if they are ready for it, which is just like, you know, just be can sound so vague and so cliche and so broad, but it really is like, once you learn how to be and hold space for everything that you are, you can also learn how to do that for other people. It's not about the fixing. It's not about the offering a solution. It's not about finding the brokenness in yourself and or others. It's just, we've all experienced things. There's trauma, there's, you know, misfortunes, whatever you want to call them. We've all experienced this in some way, shape, or form. It's not about a comparison of who has had the worst things happen to them in life. It's just really about, where am I in life right now? And am I holding all of me? And am I bringing all of me to the arena? Am I bringing all of me to the game of life? So that's in a nutshell, a few minutes of how I got into this work. It really was just curiosity and wanting to not just inspire myself and to feel ease and calm and just like being feeling safe being me, but also supporting others and doing that as well.
I really do love that because it sounds like that's very, very resonant for so many people who start on this journey is really not feeling seen and heard. And it really does start at home with your parents. And then you just grow up thinking that's normal and expecting that, from the world. So when you think back, was there like a specific moment or season in your life that really sparked this for you and made you want to go deeper into figuring out why this was for you, how you could start shifting it, and even what, just being yourself? How did you even get to that point where you felt like, okay, this is me?
Right? I'm always me. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm repressed me, I am quiet me, I am loud me, I am, this is the thing, right? We always say like, oh, that I don't feel like myself. And it's like, I get it, right? I get what people mean by that. But I think that when we just understand and accept ourselves fully as like the multi-dimensional, multifaceted beings that we are, there's no separation between like the good, the bad, the ugly, right? It's just like,
Mhm.
I am just everything. I am all there is. And so when you were asking about this, I always let just kind of things come to me. I don't think there's been like one defining moment. I don't ever know if there's like one defining moment for anyone. I think it's kind of like a buildup. And I think for me, I've just really, I don't know if it's just like me being a firstborn or what it was, but I was always, subconsciously or consciously, it didn't matter. It could go either way or both at the same time. I was always kind of just like waiting for my mom to give me permission to do something. And so I remember we were having this conversation. I was driving, I was going to work, and she called me up to tell me something. And then I gave her my opinion, and she just like, I mean, I just got like this comment about like, oh, well, something. I don't even remember because like I deleted it from my memory because I was just like, I don't really need to like find storage for this. Like, I'm done. It's already been processed. Let's go. But it was something about like a business that I had, and something that didn't go the way that the way that I wanted it to go, and that was really painful. And after that, like, she just basically like dumped that on me, and she was like, oh, I gotta go, talk to you later, bye. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I in Mexico we use WhatsApp a lot, so I grabbed my WhatsApp and I sent her like a 14-minute long voice note, and I was like basically telling her like, what you're doing is painful. Like what you just did, like just like telling me all these things and then like giving me this opinion and like kind of like, well, remember this and this. It's kind of like you're using information that I shared with you and that makes me it was a very vulnerable, it's a very vulnerable share, right? Sometimes we share vulnerable things with people. And when you use it against me, it just feels cheap and it feels wrong and it doesn't and I don't like the way that it makes me feel. And you're my mom. Like, why would you say that? Like, why would you do that? And so I think that that's something that even as a child, I was just very confused, because like I got spanked, I got, got put soap in my mouth and like a pepper rubbed on my lips and like all this shit like that went down that is just so beyond fucked up, right? Like, and I couldn't understand. And in those moments, I remember those moments and I was thinking, I was so confused. In my head, I was like, why are you doing this to me if you love me? And so it's one of those things that I think as children we just don't understand, right? Because it's kids, like they're the purest, most beautiful things on the planet, in my opinion. And because they're just honest, they just say things like they are, like it's just like I want to do it, I don't want to do it. And yes, of course we have to guide them and stuff like that, but just like to really learn from them is such a gift because they keep us, coherent. And for me, there was just no coherence in this. And so, fast forward all of these years later, decades later, when I'm here sending this voice note to my mom, I'm like, I'm not down for this anymore, and I'm not a child. So I get to stand up for myself. And that was one of the biggest moments for me because I realized in that moment that I was standing up for myself and I didn't know how she was going to take it. She could have been like, fuck you, you're not getting the point, or da, 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 or whatever. She could have been defensive, she could have been whatever. And she actually really surprised me. She was like, I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I didn't know I was causing you pain. And I've realized that a lot of the times that I've had these conversations, because this is the thing, right? We're humans. And it's not that we intentionally hurt other people. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it is intentional, other times it's not. But I think that we're just going to get hurt by others. It's not like something that we're out to seek, but it just happens because I was living my life. My mom was living her life. And she said something, right? And whether she was trying to be manipulative or controlling or a smartass or whatever, it's like I don't care about that, right? I just need to I just need to share what I feel in that moment. And I needed to stand up for myself. And I think that this was the beginning of my reparenting, which, we call it in like the personal development world. It's like you realize that your parents did the best that they could with what they had, and that not all of your needs were met, and that's okay. Like it's literally impossible for a parent to meet the needs of every single need of every child, even if it's just a one, um, even if you're an only child. So I think that for me, that was just like the beginning. And I was so nervous when I sent that voice note to my mom, but I also felt really proud of myself because in that moment I was standing up for me. I was setting that boundary and I was putting myself in front of everything else because that to me is part of how I love myself. I tell other people how I'm feeling and how it's okay and not okay for them to treat me or to talk to me.
And it's so interesting because I'm also a firstborn, first daughter. So a lot of the times it's like we have so much responsibility put on us. For me, I felt almost like a loss of a childhood because I was taking care of my brother when my parents were working. So even in that
Mm,
itself is like not being able to experience that. And then with being disciplined, it's like just very confusing. So yeah, I really applaud you for, sticking up for yourself and sharing that with your mom and letting her surprise you and
yeah,
letting it not be, as bad as you might have thought it would have been in your mind
yeah,
versus what really happened. Yeah,
yeah.
I find that so powerful.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, it's like I love talking about emotions and I love talking about just like everything that it entails because for me, I have found that if we don't have a good relationship with emotions and we
Mhm.
don't let them know who's in charge, then they can take over, and some people are like, "Oh, master your emotions, control your emotions." And I'm like, I don't even think it's about mastering them or like controlling them. It's really about just recognizing that you're in charge. You make the rules. And emotions are coming and going. It's like they don't dictate. They don't make the rules unless we allow them to. So I think that that's something very powerful that we can, once we come to that realization of like, oh, I didn't know that I was letting fear or anxiety or sadness take over. Once you realize that, it's like, oh, all I have to do is reclaim my power. All I have to do is say, like, I'm in charge, not fear or sadness or anxiety or whatever the emotion is. And then you start moving through that. Of course, it's a process, but it's actually like a beautiful thing to recognize.
So now, like in this space of emotions and allowing yourself to experience them, how would you explain to someone how they can hold space for themselves in these types of moments if they've never heard of that term before, or, if they're brand new to even feeling their own emotions? What's something you would tell them?
This is quite a responsibility because, first of all, I need to know where the person is at
Mm.
in terms of personal responsibility. So for me, I know that I can hold myself through anything, right? Like I know that I can cry. I know that I can have ego deaths, which if you're not familiar with that, we can talk a little bit about that. But if not, you can Google what ego deaths are. And, I can have all of these emotions move through me, and it's very rare for something to phase me anymore. Sometimes I'll be like, "Ooh, like that's intense. Like that was, ooh, like that was a big wave." And so I think of emotions as waves. Sometimes they come in big waves. Sometimes they come in like smaller waves. So I would, I think I probably need to do like a little quiz or or like a little PDF for people maybe to like. This is a great idea actually. So thank you, to just really ask themselves like, where am I at right now? Like, what phase in life am I in? And from there, take it, because if you're somebody who's like a rock star at holding space, you don't really need someone all the time. It's nice to have someone. I mean, I have mentors, I have, therapists, I have a therapist, like, and friends who like sometimes you want to be held. I have a partner who I've taught to do that as well, and he's amazing at it. So I think that we just we need to be aware of where we are. That's number one. And I think it's just in general for everything. Doesn't matter like what quote unquote level you're on. It's just being very aware of where am I right now? And are my thoughts scarier than my reality? This means, am I allowing myself to be consumed by my thoughts? This means, am I spiraling? Am I making myself think that life's a piece of shit? Like, I'm not worthy of living, that I don't like almost like suicidal thoughts, right? This is actually quite normal. I always tell people, like, everyone, if you're not having thoughts about, like, oh my gosh, I want to die right now, like, I don't know if you if you're even alive, because those thoughts are normal, right? Having thoughts about wanting to die is normal because the brain doesn't care. The brain doesn't care about, oh my gosh, that's so scary or that's so inappropriate. The brain doesn't care, right? You have a problem and you're drowning in the problem, the brain's going to be like, let's just die. Let's just fucking die. And then that's where it's like, for me, that's like when I know I'm like, oh, I need to die, right? Like this version of me has to die before I move forward. Because here's the thing, the life that we say that we want is not available for the version that we are right now. We need to die, who knows how many times, right? And it's the shedding of the layers, it's the shedding of the identity, it's the shedding of the current ego that is currently alive. And so we must die. We must change, transform, transmute everything, right? As we move forward. Just like everything in nature, like the trees, right? The leaves are dead, boom, they fall to the ground so new ones can come. Uh, Flowers, animals, you name it, anywhere in the animal kingdom, right? There's always shedding. Lobsters, snakes, like look at everything around you. And so even like, mammals, like the hair, right? It just falls. It's like dead, it falls. So when you lose the fear of approaching the thought or approaching the emotion, I would say that's probably like the first step, like realizing that false evidence is appearing real, which is a fear, right? False evidence appearing real. It's appearing real. And if it's getting bigger than your actual reality, I need to find some way to make this work. Can I do this on my own? And if not, I seek for help. Where? Anywhere. I just recently like got really active on Threads, and like Threads is like, oh my gosh, like even better than Google. It's like you put out there like, I need some help with this, boom, a bunch of people answer. Threads like connect the algorithm, let me connect me to the people that blah blah blah. Like boom, like you're there, thousands of comments, hundreds of likes, all these things. Now, like people that are like, okay, hey, me, I want to engage with you. So it's there has to be this desire from you, right? Because nobody can do it for us. We need to be, I mean, if you're somebody who's like, there's a mental health issue or there's like an addiction piece, I don't really work in that realm. So I don't feel comfortable advising to people who are experiencing that. But if you're somebody that's just moving through like some anxiety or some sadness or some things that are just like, you know what, I've been feeling like this for a few years and I'm just scared that this is how it's going to be forever. That's what I would say. Be really honest with yourself. Can I do this on my own? And if not, ask for help. That is like the first piece. That is where I would begin. Like, can I do this by myself? And it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're fill in the blank, like whatever your brain is telling you. It's that we don't know how to do everything, right? If something breaks here or something is just like not functioning properly in my plumbing system, I'm not going to feel bad about calling a plumber. I have a leak or I have whatever. I need your help. I need you to help me fix this. I could learn to do it, but I don't want to. So in this case, it's slightly different because we're asking for support. And then eventually we will start riding, the bike without the training wheels. But I think it's really important to be really, really honest with ourselves of what we are able to hold and knowing that we can expand into something bigger and hold more as life moves on because yeah, it really depends on where you're starting. That's the starting point, I would say.
I find it's very scary, when you're first experiencing an ego death or first having to let go of a version of yourself. For a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's too much. I'd rather just stay here. How
Yeah.
did you know when you first started like experiencing that, okay, maybe I really do want to see what's on the other side, although I can't see it? How did you start to trust that?
That's a great question. I was talking to a friend earlier this week, or last week, sorry, and she was like, Anna, I feel like you've always been this way. Like you've always been someone that just goes for what they want. And like I think, I don't know like who taught me this or how I just picked it up on life that like I don't believe in settling. I don't believe in like this isn't available for me because like I wasn't exposed to it or I wasn't, raised like this or nothing. I believe that we all have so much potential inside of us. And I can't I don't really know like how like I acquired this like skill. I feel like since I was young, I've just always been like a big cheerleader for other people's lives and then eventually I kind of was just like I guess I got to be a cheerleader for my own life so I started getting more into that and I think it was just very very intuitive, honestly. Like I feel like there comes a time when our desires are at the forefront of the game, of the situation of our life. And we either choose to go for them or we choose to be like, nah, it's okay. And so this is really where like I usually meet a lot of my clients when they're ready to be like, hey, I'm really scared, but I want to do it. How do I do it? And so they hire me because I've already done it. And so
Mhm.
many, many times. And so I think that for trusting yourself, it's like you've got to want it. you got to want to trust yourself. I think I wanted to trust myself for such a long time that even though like time passed and I wasn't there, I eventually got there and I found the mentors who reflected that back to me. And I just eventually like I just believed that I'm amazing. And I've convinced myself and now this is my truth. And nobody can take this truth away from me because it's already anchored in me. Like I'm amazing. And that's just a fact.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that answers your question because I feel like everyone has a very different path, but something's always like showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up. And if you pause a little bit and if you give yourself permission to just notice and see what's there, you might the first thing you may see is fear. And that's the fear that's just kind of the obstacle in the way. There's a fear is kind of like the gateway. A lot of times, not always. Um, and so I talk to feelings a lot. I talk to emotions. I talk to my body. And so I'll go and I'll be like, who is this? What part of me is this? And I'll answer like, oh, I'm your ego. I'm fear. I'm, your higher self, like all these things, right? And they'll use different names and they'll use different ways of expressing themselves. But I get information from what's coming up in my field. And so I think that that would probably be the best. I know that a lot of people consider this a little crazy or whatever you want to call it, but to me, it's like the most normal thing on the planet. I'm like, why are we not doing this? And I understand why we're not, because there's a whole agenda behind like manipulating the human race uh, to stay in fear and to stay in scarcity and anxiety and stress. But I think that if you're courageous enough to go in the direction of the life that you say that you want, that then there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing.
I resonate with that so much because I find even for myself, it's like all of the moments where I've really had to decide, okay, am I really going to put myself first here or am I going to stay in a situation that is like draining me and
Yeah.
literally like killing me, killing my energy, my spirit. It's always in those moments where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna better myself. I'm just going to trust it and move with it and believe that wherever this is leading me is, where I'm meant to be going. And maybe there's a bigger reason for it. Maybe there's something I can't see yet, but once I get there, it'll all make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
for me,
Yeah.
yeah, it's happened so many times as well. And it's always like those moments where you're like, how did I end up here? Like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
But it's really like,
Yeah.
what is this doing for me? What is this
Yeah.
awakening in me? Like, who is this helping me become? I love
Yeah.
hearing everything you're saying. It resonates so much.
Good. And I mean, I want to say like, and I'm sure, I mean, maybe you'll agree with me on this, but I remember when I was single and I was like, oh, I can't wait, to be with my partner. And like my brain had this fantasy of like, once like I'm in the relationship, it's like, happily ever after, and then it's like more things are coming up, right? Because
Yeah.
they're just like things that want to be seen and witnessed and held, parts of us that weren't, seen and held when we were kids. And so it's just like, I was like, man, like, I feel like reparenting is just like the key to living an
Yeah.
amazing life, like a peaceful life, because it just helps us so much, regardless of what your status is, whether it's like, you're in a relationship or you're single or you're in debt or you're, rolling in dough, like it doesn't matter. It really is just like, this is something that we all experience. And the more we normalize it, the easier it gets to be to just talk about it and to be, to be able to have these conversations with people.
Yeah. It's so interesting too, as well. Like, I ended a relationship about 5 years ago. It was ended horribly. It was one of the moments that made me realize, okay, I don't know who I am. I need to figure this out. And
Mm,
I was a shell of who I was, right? So I spent
mm,
2 years on my own, just learning myself, spending time with myself, learning to love myself. And then I found I was connected with my partner. And
mm,
I always say, like, from the moment I met him, it was like, okay, I know you, we're meant to be together. But then, like you're saying, all of these things start coming up, everything is so good, but then you finally feel safe to release these fears, these
Mm,
beliefs that you held from past relationships, from your
yeah,
parents about, like,
yeah,
okay, are they going to love me? Are they going to take care of me? Am I going to be safe? Are they going to leave me if I don't do what I think they want me to do? So
yeah,
it's so interesting because then it's like with your mom again, how you shared how you truly felt and she
yeah,
surprised you. That always seems to happen for myself as well. And I'm always like, okay,
mm,
so I don't have to be scared. It's
yeah,
just, it's safe. I'm able to release these things and create more space and hold myself and be held, which is can be tough for firstborns.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And I love that you shared that because it's so true. It is so true. And I think that we've just been sold this idea of how everything is just like once you get something, like
Thank you for
this is how
joining
it
me
life
today
is
on
gonna
this
be, like
episode of Aligning
stable
on My Time.
always. And it's
I
like
hope you found
if it was
inspiration and
stable, then we'd be
empowerment on your
dead,
journey
right?
back to your heart,
we
deepening your
there is
self love
there is
and
like
self
literally
worth.
like if you look like a one of
Remember,
those like
flourishing and
fart machines,
abundance come from
electrocardiogram, I
loving
think it's
life,
called, like
trusting the
flat
journey,
is death
and believing in the
and
universe's plan
life
for you.
is up and down.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with
We're
others
not the
who are
frequency,
finding their
it's like,
voices
the
and choosing their
heartbeats.
own destinies. Until
And
next
it's
time, keep
just,
embracing your true
yeah, I
self
think
and
it's just
living
one of those things
authentically.
that the
I'm Naomi
less we
Sarah,
fight
and
it
this is Aligning on My
and the more
Time.
we surrender, and
Stay
when I mean
bold,
surrender, I
stay
don't mean in
brave,
like
and
give
keep
in or
shining.
give up, but just really just like release the rigidity of what we think has to be or what we think has to look like. It just brings in so much peace. And I don't know if you felt this in this actual relationship, but it also made me realize like, you know, nothing is guaranteed because yeah, like our partners can die, we can die, like
Yeah.
anything can happen, right? Like they
Yeah.
can, decide to like, okay, you know what? I changed my mind. This is not for me. Like everyone's entitled to do that. I've realized that like as long as I've got me and as long as I trust myself and as long as I trust my decisions, I'm good. I'm good. And I will share my life with this person for as long as I want to and he wants to as well. There's no promise of anything. And so what I now as I'm saying this, I'm like, well, what if I could promise myself that I always have my back and that I
Mhm.
always be my own provider for bliss, my own provider for safety, so that I don't have to be looking around in people. Because if you become your own provider of safety, then the world just reflects that back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think many people realize that it's a lot of reflection. Like, to me,
Mm,
I believe that everything is a mirror. So,
yeah.
however you're showing up is what you're going to get, and people and experiences and opportunities, even.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you find that shows up very often for you? Like, how do you move through life knowing that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because, like I mentioned, I've been really active on threads and I've been really
Yeah.
enjoying it because you have like really, well, that's where we met.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just been lovely. It's lovely. Like there's such beautiful humans, but also there's some people that get really triggered by just
Mhm.
asking, again, like by just seeing a question. I had this woman say to me, like, clearly you're mentally, something about just like me being like mentally not okay. And I was like, I haven't been insulting anyone. I'm not here for this. Like this is not okay. And even like I had so many beautiful exchanges and so many people just willing to like engage with me and like have, just participate in like this back and forth that when I saw that, I was like, I literally replied, I was like, I'm not available for insults, and like have a good day. And I blocked them. I was like, that's really something that just happens in life, right? Somebody just kind of sneaks in to your field. And it's almost for me like I'm also, in the Telegram space, today is the evidence of boundaries. So it's just like very much in alignment with this, because I am the evidence, right? Like I am the evidence of that boundary, because I get to say, no, I'm not attacking anyone. I don't deserve to be like name called, and you are not even like actually part of this conversation. You just like randomly commented like, no, I'm not okay with this. Like, bye. And I think a lot of times we think that we have to continue to engage or give explanations, and we don't. We really don't. And I've had this happen with like clients, with like family members, with friends, that they're just like, I don't know how to tell them this and this and this and this. And I was like, how about you just tell them what you just told me? They're like, yeah, I don't know. And I think it's really interesting, the story, and again the fantasy and the illusion that we have around like family members and other people, right? Because if it weren't blood, if it were a stranger and somebody was doing this, you'd be like, fuck off, right? You wouldn't even like think of it twice. But because they're like family, and one big happy family, and we got to keep the peace, and everyone's okay and everybody's happy, it kind of puts on that pressure of like, oh, I can't say what I want to say. And that's not true. I believe that you can say what you want to say. It's just finding the words so that, there doesn't have to be that much repairing afterwards, if we're just activated and react instead of pausing and then responding.
Yeah, yeah. And even just
Mhm.
like speaking out of love, building that into the relationship. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very easy for people to feel attacked. And it's
Yeah.
difficult as well if you're also in a state of like, okay, I don't like this. My first initial response is to just react and to say this versus,
Yeah.
okay, is there a way that I can say this that will be more loving and will show that I actually do care, but I'm not available for this. I have to put in my boundaries because I also
Yeah.
love myself, right?
Yeah.
It's tough in families, everyone wants to keep up appearances and look like, well, perfect, but then that can cause so much friction and just miscommunication. And
Yeah.
then expectations as well, I find is the tough one that I've seen
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about your program in the Telegram
Mhm.
space, reclamation. Do you want to go
Yes.
a bit more into that and yeah, let everyone
We
know what's
can, we
about?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when this is gonna come out, but the last day to enter is October 17th. So
Okay.
again, if the podcast comes out before October 17th, then feel free to message me, because it's a space for more people.
Mhm.
So reclamation really was inspired by this online class that I'm offering tomorrow. And it's called The Art of Holding Space. And I was like, what am I like really good at teaching? Because if you ever had those moments where you're like, man, I'm really good at a lot of things, but I need to package it into like one thing that is kind of like the underlining just theme, or the container for really like who I am. And so I was like, I'm really good at holding space. Like I get this feedback from my friends, from my clients, from my family. Like I'm really good at holding space. So why don't I teach others how to hold space? Because a lot of times we don't need solutions. We don't
Mhm.
want other people's opinions. We just want to be heard. And so, isn't that a beautiful thing to do for someone that you love? Just being there and holding them. But a lot of people don't know how to do that, because we're so trained to fill in spaces, right? Have you ever been, I don't know, with somebody who's, you're there with like a family member or whatever, and just you're sitting in silence? A lot of people can't do that. It's very uncomfortable for them. But that's sometimes what needs to happen. So, um, reclamation was born around the how can I support people into building the habit of holding themselves. So, really, you're not holding space for yourself, you're holding all of you. So, it was interesting the way that it came about, right? Because holding space is one class, and then reclamation is like 22 days on Telegram. And every odd day. So every like 1, 3, 5, 7 day, I come in and it's like just I propose a prompt and I propose a perspective from like one piece of us. And then the second day, which is all the even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc., those days we find evidence that this is already done, like this has already happened. And so much of this is really basically like at the end, it's like, I'm the evidence. I'm the evidence that this is real. I'm the evidence that this is already happening for me. I'm the evidence that I don't know. Well, some women out there are always saying like, "Oh, it's so hard for me to make female friends. It's so hard because as you get older, blah blah blah," and they have all these stories. That's not my case. It's never been my case, and so I'll just tell them, "Okay, that's the story that you've been telling yourself all this time. What's the story that you actually want to live? What's the life that you actually want to have? You want to have amazing girlfriends? Okay, start saying that. Like start saying like it's actually already happened. Like it's already here. Like, oh my God, I have the best girlfriends. They're so supportive. Oh my God, maybe even name them. And a lot of people don't want to do it because it sounds childish. It sounds like, oh, that's fairy tale. That's all this stuff. But if you remember when you were a child, the most fun was to dream and to imagine and to explore and to play and to have fun. And so what happens as adults is we forget all these things. We forget all of these like amazing parts of us and we put them away. So reclamation is really reclaiming all of you and you're bringing it to the table. And those what's it called, the phrase from Dr. Seuss, those who matter don't mind and those who mind don't matter, right? So it's really stepping up to the plate for you, to you, right? So it's so that you can see you, not for anyone else, not because you want to date someone and they said that they like this, not because your parents, not because your sister, not because the neighbor, nothing like that. It's all about you. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like yourself, that's kind of a bummer. You're going through life and like you're trying to be everyone for you're trying to be everything for everyone, but then like who are you being to yourself? So that's an offer that I'm really excited about, and as you can tell, and it's really an opportunity to rewire your brain for possibilities, to rewire your brain for what you want, because this doesn't mean that you're not going to be sad, you're not going to feel jealousy, you're not going to feel you fill in the blank, anger, frustration, all of it. You get to feel all of it and remind yourself that even though you're going through this, everything is still working out in your favor. Your life is still fucking amazing, and you are living the life that you've always wanted, period. One emotion, one moment, one whatever doesn't take away the fact that you have an amazing life and that you are amazing. So when you learn to just appreciate, even, or maybe just understand that, oh, this is a phase, this is a moment, this is a wave, there's so much power in that because it doesn't define you. It's actually just something that needs to move through you and you'll learn something from it. There's insights, there's teachings, there's learnings for us there if we are willing to see. So that's the ignited, excited experience of reclamation. And I think I'm probably going to be launching this several times a year. Not maybe not this year, but for
Mm.
sure next year. It was just something that was so fun to launch, to receive, and yeah, it was really really fun. So that's the info on reclamation.
That sounds so needed right now. I
Yeah.
do agree. It like for a lot of people, it is hard for themselves to like hold space and to just be in silence and to just be. And for myself, that's never been an issue. Like I often am the one who holds space for others as well. And I still work like have a day job in corporate. So I see a lot of people in meetings who are just filling up the space, not leaving any room for anyone else to come in with their ideas or even their own, perspectives. It's all just
Hmm.
like one person running the show, speaking for an hour straight. And I'm always like, ugh, this could have been so much more productive and reflective of everybody around the table, only if they had let other people speak and like leave room
Hmm.
to breathe and to reflect on what's being said.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's an amazing thing you're doing to just bring that into the space and share with everyone who's ready.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, corporate, if you want to be in an experiment of this
Mhm.
world, join corporate because I've never been a part of the corporate life, like on and off, like when I was younger. But
Mhm.
I've heard some stories from friends who work in corporate, and I'm just like, man, I would have been kicked out like first day. Like I would have been just I wouldn't
Yeah,
have been
it's
able to probably build a resume in the
no,
corporate
for
life
real.
because
Like it's not for everyone. It
yeah.
yeah, I find I'm gonna say like for people like us, right, who have a lot to give and to share with the world, like
Mm,
emotionally, spiritually, in that sense, it's very draining. It's tough to be in there.
mm,
So I'm working my
mm.
way out, but yeah, I have a nice question for you. So, what practices or rituals help you stay connected to your truth right now?
I always I wish I could be this person that like wakes up every morning and just like does this thing like consistently. But the truth is, I'm very seasonal and I'm
Mm,
very almost like, oh, I'm in the mood to do this or I'm in the mood to do that. So it can be dancing, it can be singing, it can be sometimes like I can be really heavy into like meditation or just gratitude. It really just depends. But I think the one that is consistent and it's just so easy for me, it's the the deciding. So I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just decide that today is going to be an amazing day and that today is already an amazing day. And it's like the sun's already shining in my face. Um, but yeah, it's like today is amazing. My life is amazing. I'm so grateful that I have an amazing partner, amazing friends, amazing family. Like I'm so grateful for me. I'm so grateful for this body that I have. Like I recently had some like I'd never had internal hemorrhoids. And like this is TMI, but whatever. Like this is just how I roll. I couldn't even fart. Like it was so painful. And I was so like everything was just so closed up that I couldn't even pass gas. And so I was like, wow, I had been taken for granted. Like I had been taking for granted the fact that I could fart, and it's considered something that's like, ew, gross, you farted. But now I'm like, yeah, like it's just like I'm grateful that my body can do what it was designed to do, right? That it can eliminate and it can, move things. And it's just so beautiful and it's so intuitive that like I don't really have to do much for it to actually happen. I do have to do something, but like it makes everything, it does everything on its own. So I think if you can really break it down to those types of things,
mhm.
and and connect with your body, talk to your body. I talk to my body almost every day. It'll be weird at the beginning, kind of like when you first start hugging trees. I don't know if you hug trees, but like I hug trees all the time. And you're kind of like concerned that somebody's gonna think that you're like weird, but then you like don't care. And so you just go and hug the trees every time. And it's just like a routine. It's like a ritual every time you see a beautiful tree or the trees it's just kind of like come and hug me. I'm like, yes. So I talk, to my body. I talk to the things around me because everything has energy. Like everything has a desire and everything it has life. It's not dead. So if you can really make your life less mundane
Mhm.
in the sense of, oh, I wake up, you know scroll, make coffee, blah, blah, blah. Especially like if you're in the corporate world, like that's very often what I see happens with people. They get into this routine of like, I can't wait for it to be Friday. It's like if you're living your life waiting on Fridays, it's like, what are you doing? Like how? How does that even happen? So can you build a life that you're excited about every day? Because that's how I feel. I'm like, tomorrow, what will tomorrow bring? What miracles, what beautiful things, what amazing things will life bring? So I think asking questions and letting life respond to you, you feel accompanied, you feel supported, you get that you're not doing this on your own.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, that's definitely something I do in the mornings too. It's like, okay, what amazing miracles or blessings is the universe going to send to me today? And just like,
Mm,
today is going to be an amazing day. Like, that's just all there is to it. Things are going to go my
yeah,
way. Opportunities are going to show up, connections are
yeah,
going to be made, whatever it is that you need in that day, whatever comes to your mind first thing in the morning. I was like, okay,
mhm,
we're just going to go with it. And it's how it's going to be. Oh,
yeah,
I like that so much. Another good question for you. You kind of answered it a bit at the beginning, but I'd love to get a more fulsome answer. So, if someone's listening who's at the start of their healing or awakening journey, what would you want them
yeah.
to know?
You can't fuck it up.
Mm,
Like there's just
yeah,
there's just no way that you can go down the wrong quote unquote route. There's
yeah,
no such thing as wrong. You're doing everything right because this is your journey. It's not your boss's journey. It's not your job's journey. It's not your mom's journey. It's not your boyfriend's or your girlfriend's journey. It's not anyone else's journey but yours. And the lessons that you are learning and have learned in the past and will learn, that's what you came here to experience. I think a lot of us are so missing the point of life. It's not about, oh, if you want to, run a marathon, go for it. But like it doesn't have to be that hard. And I think a lot of us signed up to the hard because we thought it had to be hard because we thought that's how we get recognition. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't matter where you came from, what you experienced, your background, your traumas, no traumas, this, that. It's not, there's no comparison. It's like you're creating your own thing, and as long as you stay in your lane and you might mind your own business, it's going to be great and it's going to be fun, and you're going to have a good time.
that's definitely what I've been saying to myself so often these days. It's like, I can't mess it up. Like, I can't get it wrong. Anything
Yeah,
that I'm doing is serving me. It's allowing me to experience at least what I don't like, so I can know that and move towards what I do like. So that, yeah, that's cute
yeah.
and will be so helpful for anyone at the beginning. Saves so much time. I know you did mention about reclamation and you're holding space offering tomorrow. Are
Mm-hmm.
there any other courses, projects, or anything else you'd love to let people know about?
Yeah, so depending on when you listen to this, I will be starting a 7-month program. It's called Allow, and it really is kind of just like for people who are wanting more after reclamation, or even if you didn't go through reclamation and you're just, yeah, I want to allow more into my life, allow more of the things that I say that I want to allow, because we can be talking about our dreams and desires and goals and wishes all day long. The truth is, if you're not aligned, like the podcast, if you're not allowing it, then like it's just not going to work because we truly are the only ones that are getting in the way of our allowance. So that is going to start in the 11th of November, and it's going to be a small group. All genders are welcome, and you can just reach out to me directly. I don't have the details yet. I still have yet to create all the promo and all that good stuff, but it'll be out soon enough. So if you have all my info in the show notes, then people can just reach out to me and ask directly if they're interested.
Amazing. That sounds like it's going to be so impactful. And so
Yes.
people can find you on Instagram and Threads, anywhere else?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way because on Instagram I have my link tree. So from my link tree you can find like my offerings, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's you want group. I already and I'm working on other digital courses, but right now there's a mini series that's there as well. So yeah, you can see it there. And if you're somebody who's like, hey, like I want to know more, what's up? Send me a DM. I
Um,
respond to my DMs.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anna. It was honestly so amazing to chat with you today. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you for
So
having me. This was lovely.